The stars looked peaceful through the main window of the battleship. Captain Tae-Yang Kim stood on the bridge, watching the endless darkness of space. His ship, the EDS Indomitable, was on a normal patrol near the edge of the solar system. Everything seemed quiet. Too quiet. Tae-Yang was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been in space for 20 years. He had seen many things, fought in several battles, and never lost a ship. His crew trusted him completely. They knew he would keep them safe. Commander Ha-Jin Park sat at the tactical station. She was checking the sensor readings for the third time that hour. Ha-Jin had been Tae-Yang's first officer for 5 years. She was smart and careful. If something was wrong, she would find it. Suddenly, the alarm rang through the bridge. Everyone jumped to attention. Ha-Jin looked at her screen and her face went pale. "Captain, we have multiple contacts," she said quickly. "They just appeared out of nowhere. Energy readings are massive." Tae-Yang moved to her station. On the screen, he saw dozens of red dots. Ships. Big ships. They had come from hyperspace without any warning. This was not good. "Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The image appeared on the giant display. Everyone on the bridge stopped breathing for a moment. The alien ships were huge. They looked like they were alive, with smooth curves and strange lights running along their hulls. The metal seemed to move like skin. These were not human ships. Lieutenant Bora Yoon, the weapons officer, checked her systems. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. Bora was young but very good at her job. She never missed a target. "Weapons are ready, Captain," she reported. "But sir, those ships are 3 times our size, maybe more." Down in the engine room, Dae-Hyun Lee watched his monitors with worry. The chief engineer was a short man with strong arms and oil on his uniform. He knew every pipe and wire in the ship. Right now, his engines were running perfectly. But would that be enough? "Bridge, this is engineering," he spoke into his headset. "I see the contacts. Tell me we are not going to fight all of them." "Let us hope not," Tae-Yang replied. Dr. Ji-Woo Choi rushed onto the bridge. She was the science officer and language expert. Ji-Woo was thin with long black hair and bright, intelligent eyes. She carried a data pad and looked excited and scared at the same time. "Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the alien ships," she said. "It is in multiple languages. They are trying to communicate. Can you understand it?" Tae-Yang asked. Ji-Woo worked on her pad for a minute. The bridge was silent except for the soft beeping of computers. Finally, she looked up. "Yes, I think so. They call themselves the Vexstar Dominion. They are demanding that we leave this area. They say this space belongs to them now." Tae-Yang felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. This was human space. Earth's colonies were here. Millions of people lived in this system. "Send a reply," he said. "Tell them this is our territory. We have colonies here. We will not leave." Ji-Woo translated and sent the message. They waited. The alien ships did not move. Then a new transmission came through. This time it included a visual signal. "Put it on screen," Tae-Yang said. The image made several crew members gasp. The alien was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that looked like black metal. Its head was long with many eyes that glowed red. When it spoke, its mouth showed rows of sharp teeth. "I am High Overseer Kralix," the alien said. The translation device made his voice sound cold and harsh. "You are insects compared to the Dominion. Your weapons are toys. Your ships are slow and weak. You will leave now, or we will destroy you." Tae-Yang stepped forward. He looked directly at the alien on the screen. "This is Captain Tae-Yang Kim of the Earth defense ship Indomitable. We will not abandon our colonies. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves." Kralix made a sound that might have been laughter. "Defend yourselves? With what? We have conquered 100 worlds. We have destroyed species more advanced than you. You have 1 small ship. We have 50. You will surrender, or you will die. I give you 1 hour." The transmission ended. The bridge was silent. Everyone looked at their captain. Tae-Yang walked to his command chair and sat down. His mind was racing. They were outgunned and outnumbered. If they fought, They would probably die. But if they ran, the colonies would be defenseless. The Vexstar would kill millions of people. Hajin, call a senior staff meeting now, he ordered. 5 minutes later, Taeyang stood in the meeting room with his officers. Hajin, Bora, Daehyun, and Jiwoo were all there. They looked worried but determined. Tell me what we know, Taeyang said. Hajin brought up a tactical display. The alien ship surrounded them in a wide circle. They have us completely surrounded, she explained. Their weapons are charged and ready. From what I can see, they use some kind of plasma technology. Very powerful. Bora added her report. Our weapons can hurt them, but we do not have enough ammunition to fight all 50 ships. Maybe we can damage a few before they overwhelm us. Daehyun looked uncomfortable. Captain, I have to tell you something. We have an experimental weapon. A fusion cannon. It was installed last month for testing. We have never fired it in combat. I do not even know if it will work. Taeyang raised an eyebrow. How powerful is it? Very powerful. If it works, it could destroy one of their big ships with a single shot, but it takes all our power to fire it. After we use it, we will have no shields and no main engines for several minutes. Jiwoo spoke up. Captain, I have been listening to their communications. The Vexstar are very confident. They think we will run away or surrender. They have fought many species before and all of them gave up without a real fight. They do not expect us to be brave. Taeyang thought about this. An idea was forming in his mind. It was dangerous, maybe crazy, but it might work. We are not going to run, he said quietly, and we are not going to surrender. We are going to stand our ground. If they want to fight, we will give them one they never forget. Hajin looked worried. Sir, we cannot win against 50 ships. Maybe not, Taeyang agreed. But we can make them respect us. We can show them that humans do not give up, and maybe, just maybe, we can survive long enough to send a warning to Earth. He looked at each of his officers. They were scared, but they trusted him. They would follow his orders. Return to your stations, he ordered. Prepare for battle, and someone get me a direct line to Earth Command. They need to know what is happening out here. The officers left quickly. Taeyang remained alone in the meeting room for a moment. He looked at his reflection in the dark window. In a few minutes, the hour would be up. Then the shooting would start. He took a deep breath and walked back to the bridge. His crew was at their stations, ready and waiting. The countdown timer showed 15 minutes remaining. Taeyang sat in his command chair and watched the alien ships on the screen. They were so big and powerful. But size was not everything. Humans had always been good at winning fights they should lose. Today would be no different. The timer counted down. 10 minutes. 5 minutes. 1 minute. Then it reached 0. The main screen showed the lead Vexstar ship. Its weapons glowed with bright red light. Energy built up along its hull. Kralix appeared one more time. Your time is over, human. Your defiance ends now. The alien ship fired. The plasma beam shot toward the Indomitable like a spear of red fire. It moved so fast that the crew barely had time to react. Bora's hands flew across her controls. Shields up, she shouted. The magnetic deflection shields activated just in time. The plasma hit the invisible barrier and spread out like water hitting a wall. The bridge shook hard. Sparks flew from several control panels. One crew member fell from his chair. Shield strength at 82%, Bora reported. Her voice was steady, but her knuckles were white on the controls. That was just one shot. We cannot take many more like that. Taeyang gripped the arms of his chair. He had faced danger before, but never anything like this. The Vexstar weapons were incredibly powerful. Hajin, plot an escape course, he ordered. Maximum speed. The commander worked quickly at her station. Her fingers moved over the screen, calculating routes and speeds. Then she stopped. Her face went pale again. Captain, we have a problem, she said quietly. The Vexstar have deployed gravity well generators. They are creating artificial mass that prevents hyperspace jumps. We are trapped. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They could not run. They could not escape. They had to fight or die. More plasma beams struck the shields. The Indomitable shook with each impact. The lights flickered. Down in engineering, alarms were ringing everywhere. Dae-hyun was running between control stations, checking readouts and shouting orders to his team. The reactor was working at maximum capacity. The heat was unbearable. Sweat poured down his face. "Give me more power to the shields," he yelled to his assistant. "Reroute everything from the life support backup systems." On the bridge, Jiwoo was listening to the alien communications. She had her headphones on and was typing notes on her datapad. Suddenly, she looked up with surprise on her face. "Captain, I am hearing something interesting," she said. "The Vextar are confused. They are asking each other why we have not surrendered yet. They have never seen a species fight back like this." Tae-yang leaned forward. "This was important information." "What do you mean?" he asked. Jiwoo scrolled through her notes. "From what I can understand, every other species they encountered either ran away or surrendered immediately. The Vextar have never had to actually fight. They win through fear and superior technology. They do not know what to do with an enemy that refuses to quit." A small smile appeared on Tae-yang's face. This was exactly what he needed. The Vextar were arrogant and overconfident. They expected humans to be like all the others. That was their weakness. "Then let us show them what humans are made of," he said. "Hajin, forget running. We are going on the attack. Plot a course directly toward their formation." Hajin turned to look at him. "Sir, are you sure?" "That is suicide." "Only if we play by their rules," Tae-yang replied. "We are going to do something they do not expect. We are going to attack. Bora, prepare the railguns. Target the nearest cruiser." Bora's eyes widened, but she followed orders. Her hands moved across the weapons console. "Railguns charged and ready, Captain." "Targets locked. Helm, take us in," Tae-yang commanded. "Full speed. Evasive pattern Delta." The Indomitable surged forward. The ship twisted and turned as it flew toward the alien fleet. Plasma beams shot past them, missing by meters. The pilot was good, very good. He had trained in asteroid fields where one wrong move meant death. Now that training was saving their lives. The alien ships were not expecting this. They had formed up to surround and destroy the human vessel from a distance. Now that vessel was charging straight at them. Their weapons tried to track the fast-moving target, but the Indomitable was too nimble. On the Vextar flagship, Kralix watched in disbelief. His multiple eyes tracked the human ship as it dodged through his fleet. "What are they doing?" he demanded. "Why do they not retreat? Why do they not beg for mercy?" One of his officers spoke nervously. "High Overseer, the humans appear to be attacking us." "Impossible!" Kralix roared. "They cannot win. Destroy them. All ships concentrate fire." But it was too late. The Indomitable had closed the distance. Bora pressed the firing button. The railguns fired. These were not energy weapons like the Vextar used. These were physical projectiles. Tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic coils. They traveled at a significant fraction of light speed. At that velocity, they did not need explosives. The kinetic energy alone was devastating. 3 tungsten rods hit the Vextar cruiser within milliseconds of each other. The first punched through the alien shields like they were not there. The second penetrated the hull. The third went all the way through the ship and came out the other side. The cruiser exploded. Atmosphere vented into space. Debris flew in all directions. Secondary explosions rippled along the hull as internal systems failed. Within seconds, the ship was dead, floating in space as a broken wreck. The bridge crew of the Indomitable erupted in cheers. They had done it. They had destroyed one of the alien ships. Direct hit, Bora shouted with joy. "The cruiser is gone." But Tae-yang did not celebrate. He knew this was just the beginning. "Good work," he said calmly. "Now target the next one. Keep moving. Do not let them get a clear shot at us." The Indomitable continued its wild flight through the enemy formation. It was like a shark among fish, fast and deadly. 2 more cruisers fell to the railguns. But the human ship was taking damage too. "Shield strength at 40%, Bora reported. The excitement had left her voice. Now she sounded worried. "Hull breaches on deck 7 and 9. Casualties reported." In engineering, Dae-hyun was fighting to keep the ship alive. The reactor was running beyond its normal limits. Warning lights flashed red across every panel. "Bridge, this is engineering," he called out. "The reactor is overheating. I can give you maybe 5 more minutes at this power level. After that, we will have to shut down for repairs or risk a core meltdown." Tae-yang processed this information quickly. 5 minutes. That was all they had. He needed to make those minutes count. "Dae-hyun, what about the fusion cannon? Can you charge it?" There was a pause. Then the engineer replied, Yes, but it will take everything we have. All power from shields, weapons, engines, everything. And if it does not work, we will be sitting ducks. Do it, Taiyang ordered. Charge the fusion cannon. Target the biggest ship in their fleet. Haijin looked at the tactical display. The biggest ship was obvious. It was the Vexstar flagship, twice the size of any other vessel in the fleet. Kralix's ship. Captain, if we destroy their flagship, it might break their formation, she said. But we will be completely vulnerable during the charging process. I know, Taiyang replied. But we do not have any other choice. If we keep fighting like this, we will lose. We need to do something big, something that will shock them. He turned to address the entire crew over the ship's intercom system. All hands. This is the captain. In a few moments, we are going to fire our experimental fusion cannon at the enemy flagship. This weapon has never been tested in combat. We do not know for certain if it will work. What I do know is that we are fighting for our lives, for our colonies, and for Earth itself. Every species the Vexstar have encountered has surrendered to them. We are going to show them that humans are different. We do not give up, we fight. Stay at your stations, do your duty, and remember, no matter what happens here today, we made them respect us. The crew responded with determination. In every section of the ship, men and women worked harder. They knew the odds were against them. They knew they might not survive, but they were human, and humans did not quit. In engineering, Daehyun was routing power to the fusion cannon. He had never done this before. The weapon was theoretical, built by scientists who wanted to test new ideas. Now it was their only hope. The fusion cannon began to charge. It drew power from the reactor, from the shields, from the engines. The lights on the bridge dimmed. The temperature dropped as life support reduced its output. Cannon charging, Daehyun reported. 30%. 40%. The Vexstar noticed that the human ship had stopped its evasive maneuvers. It was just floating there, slowly turning to face the flagship. Kralix saw this and smiled with his sharp teeth. They have exhausted their power, he said with satisfaction. They are helpless now. All ships target that vessel. Destroy it completely. Every Vexstar ship turned toward the Indomitable, their weapons charged with red energy. In seconds, they would fire a massive barrage that would obliterate the human battleship. On the bridge, Bora watched her targeting computer. The fusion cannon was almost ready. The crosshairs were locked on the enemy flagship. Her finger hovered over the firing button. 70%, Daehyun called out. 80%. 90%. The Vexstar weapons glowed brighter. They were about to fire. 100%, Daehyun shouted. Cannon ready? Taeyang did not hesitate. Fire. Bora pressed the button. The fusion cannon fired. A beam of blue-white energy shot from the Indomitable. It was pure concentrated fusion plasma, hotter than the surface of a star. The beam crossed the distance between the ships in less than a second. It struck the Vexstar flagship directly in the center. For a moment, nothing happened. The beam seemed to be absorbed by the alien shields. The crew held their breath. Then the flagship exploded. The explosion was like a new sun being born. The Vexstar flagship broke apart in a massive fireball that lit up the darkness of space. The energy from the fusion cannon had penetrated deep into the ship and ignited its power core. The result was catastrophic. The shockwave expanded outward in a sphere of fire and debris. 3 Vexstar cruisers that had been positioned too close were caught in the blast. Their shields failed. Their hulls melted. They tumbled through space as burning wrecks. On the Indomitable, the crew watched in stunned silence. Even Taeyang had not expected such total destruction. They had destroyed the flagship and 4 other ships in a single shot. Then the shockwave hit them. The Indomitable tumbled through space like a leaf in a storm. Without shields or power, the ship was helpless. Crew members grabbed onto their stations to avoid being thrown around. Alarms screamed from every system. Hull integrity compromised. Hajin shouted over the noise. Multiple breaches. We are venting atmosphere on decks 3 through 8. In engineering, Daehyun and his team were fighting for survival. The reactor had gone into emergency shutdown. Pipes were bursting. Coolant was leaking. The heat was unbearable. Seal those breaches, Daehyun yelled. Get the backup systems online. Move, move, move! Slowly, the emergency systems kicked in. Blast doors sealed the damaged sections. Backup power came online. The ship stopped tumbling. The crew took a collective breath. Taeyang pushed himself back into his command chair. His forehead was bleeding from where he had hit a console during the tumbling. He wiped the blood away and looked at the main screen. The Vextar fleet was in chaos. Nearly a quarter of their ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining vessels were scattered, their formation broken. They had never experienced anything like this. Status report. Taeyang ordered. Ha-Jin checked her displays. 37 crew members dead. 108 wounded. Main power offline. Shields offline. Weapons offline. We are running on emergency batteries only. It was bad, very bad. But they were still alive. And they had hurt the enemy badly. How long until we can restore main power? Taeyang asked. Daehyun's voice came through the intercom. He sounded exhausted. The reactor is in emergency shutdown. It will take at least 30 minutes to restart it safely. Maybe longer, 30 minutes. That was a lifetime in combat. The Vextar could destroy them 10 times over in that period. Jiwoo was monitoring the alien communications again. Her hands shook as she worked. She had never been in combat before. This was terrifying, but she forced herself to focus on her job. Captain, I am picking up Vextar transmissions, she reported. They are regrouping. But sir, they sound different now. Before they were confident, almost mocking. Now they sound scared and angry. Can you locate their new command ship? Taeyang asked. Jiwoo worked her controls. Yes, I think so. It looks like Kralik survived. He transferred his command to a secondary vessel before the flagship was destroyed. He is rallying the fleet now. On that secondary vessel, Kralik stood in the command center. His forearms trembled with rage. Around him, his officers worked nervously. They had never seen the High Overseer like this. Report, Kralik demanded. His voice was like thunder. One officer stepped forward carefully. High Overseer, we have lost 23 ships. The flagship is destroyed. The humans used a weapon we have never encountered before. Some kind of fusion technology. Kralik slammed one of his fists on a console. The metal dented under the force. How is this possible? He roared. They are primitives. They should not have weapons like this. We have conquered advanced civilizations with ease. How can one small human ship do such damage? Another officer spoke up. Overseer, sensors show the human vessel is heavily damaged. They have no shields, no weapons, minimal power. They are defenseless now. We can destroy them easily. Kralik stared at the image of the Indomitable on his screen. The human ship looked dead, floating in space with lights flickering. But something made him hesitate. These humans had already surprised him twice. What other tricks did they have? Deploy the gravity well generators at maximum strength, he ordered. Make sure they cannot escape. Then prepare all remaining ships for a coordinated assault. I want that human vessel obliterated. Leave nothing but atoms. Back on the Indomitable, Ha-Jin detected the gravity well strengthening. Captain, the Vextar are reinforcing the gravity trap, she said. Even if we could restore power, we would not be able to jump to hyperspace. We are completely boxed in. Taeyang stood up from his chair. His mind was racing. They had hurt the enemy, but now they were helpless. The Vextar would come at them with everything they had. There was no way to win this fight, but maybe they did not need to win. Maybe they just needed to survive long enough to get a message to Earth. A warning about the Vextar threat. Jiwoo, can you prepare a data package? He asked. Everything we know about the Vextar. Their ship designs, weapons, tactics, communication frequencies. All of it. Jiwoo nodded. Yes, Captain. But how will we send it? We do not have enough power to transmit that far. We will use a message drone, Taeyang replied. A small autonomous probe with its own power source and hyperspace engine. If we can destroy one of those gravity well generators, the drone might be able to slip through and jump to Earth. Ha-Jin looked at the tactical display. The nearest gravity well generator was surrounded by Vextar ships. Captain, to destroy that generator, we would need to get very close, and we have no weapons. The only way would be to ram it. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what she was saying. Ramming the generator meant certain death for everyone on board. There would be no survivors. Taeyang looked at his crew. They were young, most of them. They had families waiting for them on Earth and the colonies. They had their whole lives ahead of them, and he was about to ask them to die. There is another option, Jiwoo said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. She was staring at her datapad with wide eyes. What is it? Taeyang asked. I have been analyzing the gravity well generators, she explained. They work by creating artificial mass using a specific energy frequency. But if we could match that frequency with our reactor output, we might be able to overload the generator without physically hitting it. Daehyun's voice came through the intercom immediately. That is insane. The reactor is barely functional. Trying to modulate it to a specific frequency in this condition could cause a core breach. We would all die in the explosion, but it might work. Taeyang pressed. There was a long pause. Then Daehyun replied, Maybe it could work. But the odds are terrible. I would say we have a 20% chance of success, an 80% chance of dying. Those are better odds than ramming, Hajin pointed out. At least this way we might survive. Taeyang made his decision. Do it, he ordered. Jiwoo, send all your frequency data to engineering. Daehyun, prepare to modulate the reactor. Hajin, plot a course to the nearest generator. Maximum emergency speed. Yes, sir, they all replied. Taeyang sat back in his chair. He opened the ship-wide channel one more time. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to attempt something very dangerous. Our chances of survival are not good. If anyone wants to record a final message for their families, do it now. Send them to the message drone. Even if we do not make it, our families will know what we did here today. They will know we fought with courage. They will know we did not surrender. Captain out. Throughout the ship, crew members recorded quick messages. Some cried. Some laughed. Some simply said they loved their families. All of them stayed at their posts. Not one person abandoned their duty. In engineering, Daehyun and his team worked frantically. They were trying to do something that should be impossible. The reactor was designed to provide steady, reliable power. Now they were going to turn it into a weapon. Frequency matched, one engineer reported. But the reactor is unstable. It could go critical at any moment. Just hold it together a little longer, Daehyun muttered. He was talking to the reactor like it was a living thing. Come on, old girl. One more miracle. That is all I ask. On the bridge, Hajin had plotted their course. The Indomitable began to move forward on emergency thrusters. It was slow, much slower than normal, but they were moving toward the gravity well generator. The Vextar noticed the movement. Kralix watched as the damaged human ship crawled toward the generator. What are they doing now? He demanded. Are they trying to ram the generator? How foolish. All ships, destroy them before they can reach it. The Vextar fleet opened fire. Plasma beams streaked toward the Indomitable. Without shields, the ship was defenseless. The beams struck the hull, tearing through metal and causing more damage. Hull breaches on all decks. Hajin shouted. We are losing structural integrity. How close are we? Taeyang demanded. 200 meters, Hajin replied. 150. 100. Daehyun now, Taeyang shouted. In engineering, Daehyun pushed the final control. The reactor output surged, matching the exact frequency of the gravity well generator. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the gravity well generator began to pulse with an unnatural light. The resonance was tearing it apart from the inside. Alarms sounded on the Vextar ships as they detected the problem. The generator imploded. It collapsed into itself, creating a temporary black hole that lasted only a fraction of a second. The Indomitable drifted through space, battered and broken. Fires burned in several sections. The hull was torn open in dozens of places. Emergency lights flickered weakly. From the outside, the ship looked dead, but inside, the crew was still fighting. Medical teams rushed through corridors, helping the wounded. Repair crews sealed breaches with whatever materials they could find. Everyone worked together with grim determination. On the bridge, Taeyang assessed their situation. It was not good. They had achieved the impossible by destroying most of the Vextar fleet. But the cost had been high. Very high, final damage report, he said quietly. Heijin read from her console. Her voice was tired. Total casualties are 63 dead and 147 wounded. Main power is at 15%. Shields are offline. Weapons are offline. Life support is functioning at minimal levels. We have maybe 12 hours of air remaining. 12 hours. Not much time at all. What about the Vextar? Taeyang asked. Hajin checked her sensors. They are regrouping. 15 ships remain operational. They are staying at a distance, watching us. I think they are afraid to come closer. Jiwoo was listening to their communications. Captain, the Vextar are confused. Their leadership is arguing. Some want to attack immediately. Others want to leave. They have never lost this many ships before. They do not know what to do. Taeyang leaned back in his chair. The Vextar were beaten psychologically, even if they still had more ships. They had come here expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had been bloodied by a single human vessel. Their confidence was shattered. This was the moment. This was when he could end the battle without more death. But he needed to do it carefully. If he showed weakness, the Vexstar might attack. If he was too aggressive, they might feel they had no choice but to fight. He needed to find the perfect balance. Jiwoo, open a channel to the Vexstar command ship, he ordered. Jiwoo worked her controls. Channel open, Captain. Taeyang stood up. He straightened his uniform, wiped the blood from his face, and faced the main screen. A moment later, Kralix appeared. The alien commander looked different now. Before he had been arrogant and dismissive. Now he looked cautious, even fearful. His many eyes studied Taeyang carefully. Human, Captain, Kralix said slowly. You have surprised me. You and your crew have fought with great courage. The Dominion has not faced such resistance in many years. Taeyang nodded slightly. And you have learned something today, Overseer Kralix? You have learned that humanity does not surrender. We do not bow to threats. We defend what is ours. Kralix was silent for a moment. Then he spoke again. Your ship is damaged. You have no weapons left. We still have 15 vessels. We could destroy you. You could try, Taeyang replied calmly. But you came here with 50 ships. Now you have 15. How many more are you willing to lose? We have already sent a message to Earth. Right now, our entire fleet is mobilizing. In a few days, you will face not just one ship, but hundreds, and every one of them will fight just as hard as we did. This was a bluff, of course. Earth did not have hundreds of battleships, but Kralix did not know that. And after what he had just experienced, the alien commander was willing to believe anything about human military capabilities. Kralix seemed to be thinking. His multiple eyes blinked in sequence. Finally, he spoke. What do you propose, Captain? Taeyang kept his voice steady and confident. Leave this system. Leave our space. Return to your dominion. Tell them that humanity is not easy prey. Tell them we will defend ourselves with everything we have. If you attack our colonies, we will fight you again and again until either you leave or we are all dead. Those are your only options. The bridge crew held their breath. This was the critical moment. Would Kralix accept, or would pride force him to continue the battle? Kralix stared at Taeyang for a long time. His alien face was hard to read, but Taeyang thought he saw something like respect in those glowing eyes. You have something we did not expect, Kralix said slowly, something that makes you dangerous. You call it hope. You refuse to accept defeat even when logic says you should. This makes you unpredictable. It makes you a threat, Taeyang nodded. Then you understand. We are not insects. We are not weak. We are human, and we do not give up. Kralix made a gesture with one of his forearms. In his culture, it might have been equivalent to a salute. Very well, Captain Taeyang Kim. The Dominion will withdraw from this system, for now, but understand this clearly. We will not forget what happened here. We will study your species. We will learn your weaknesses. And when we return, we will be prepared for your tricks. Taeyang smiled grimly. And we will be ready for you. Count on it. The transmission ended. The screen went dark. For a moment, the bridge was completely silent. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Soon, the entire bridge crew was applauding and cheering. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had survived. They had protected the colonies. They had sent the aliens running. Hajin stood and saluted her captain. Sir, that was incredible. Taeyang shook his head. It was not just me. It was all of us. Every person on this ship. We won because we worked together. We won because we refused to quit. On the tactical display, they watched as the Vexstar ships began to withdraw. One by one, they jumped into hyperspace and disappeared. Within 10 minutes, all of them were gone. The battle was over. Bora slumped in her chair with relief. I cannot believe we survived that. We did more than survive, Jiwoo said. She was smiling despite the tears on her face. We won. Humanity just won its first battle with an alien species. Down in engineering, Daehyun heard the news. He and his team had been so focused on keeping the reactor from exploding that they had not known what was happening. When they learned the Vexstar were leaving, they erupted in celebration. Exhausted engineers hugged each other and cheered, but the celebration was brief. There was still much work to do. The ship was badly damaged. Many were wounded. They needed to restore power and life support before they ran out of air. Taeyang opened the ship-wide channel. All hands, this is the captain. The Vexstar have withdrawn. We are safe for now. But we are not out of danger yet. We need to repair the ship and care for our wounded. Everyone return to your duties. Work together. Help each other. We made it through the battle. Now we need to make it home. The crew responded immediately. Despite their exhaustion, despite their injuries, they went back to work. They patched holes in the hull. They treated the wounded in the medical bay. They coaxed the damaged systems back to life. Over the next several hours, things slowly improved. Dae-hyun managed to bring the reactor back online at 20% capacity. Not much, but enough to restore life support and basic propulsion. The medical team stabilized the critical patients. The repair crew sealed the major breaches. As Taeyang walked through the ship, he saw the damage everywhere. Scorched walls, torn metal, emergency patches. But he also saw his crew, working without complaint, helping each other, staying strong. He stopped in the medical bay. The wounded were lying on beds and stretchers. Some were conscious, some were not. The doctors and nurses moved between them, doing what they could with limited supplies. One young crew member, a weapons technician named Sang-ho, saw the captain and tried to sit up. His left arm was bandaged and his face was bruised. "Captain," Sang-ho said weakly. "Did we win?" Taeyang smiled and gently pushed the young man back down. "Yes, we won. Rest now. You earned it." Sang-ho smiled and closed his eyes. Taeyang also visited the section where they were storing the bodies of those who had died. 63 people. 63 men and women who would never see their families again. The captain stood silently before them, paying his respects. "You did not die in vain," he whispered. "Because of you, the colonies are safe. Because of you, Earth is warned. Because of you, humanity survived. I will make sure everyone knows what you sacrificed here." 3 days later, the Indomitable was able to begin the slow journey back toward the inner system. The ship could only travel at quarter speed, but it was moving. They were going home. On the bridge, Ha-jin was monitoring communications. Suddenly, she looked up with excitement. "Captain, I am receiving multiple signals. It is the Earth Defense Fleet. They received our message. They are coming to meet us." Taeyang felt relief wash over him. They were not alone anymore. "Help was coming. How many ships?" he asked. Ha-jin checked her display. 40 ships, sir. The entire Solar Defense Force. They are in full battle formation. Ji-woo was receiving a transmission. "Captain, it is Admiral Chen from Earth Command. She wants to speak with you." "Put her through," Taeyang ordered. An older woman appeared on the screen. She wore an admiral's uniform and had sharp, intelligent eyes. She looked at the image of the damaged Indomitable and her expression softened. "Captain Kim, this is Admiral Chen. We received your message. My God, you actually fought them off. When we saw the data, we could barely believe it. 1 ship against 50. It should have been impossible." Taeyang stood and saluted. "Admiral, we did what we had to do. We protected the colonies and sent you the warning. That was our mission." Admiral Chen returned the salute. "You did far more than that, Captain. You showed the galaxy that humanity will not be intimidated. You showed them we can fight. Every person on Earth is talking about you and your crew." 6 weeks had passed since the battle. The Indomitable was docked at Earth's largest orbital station, undergoing extensive repairs. The ship that had faced 50 alien vessels and survived was being rebuilt, made stronger than before. Captain Taeyang Kim stood at the observation window of the military headquarters, looking down at Earth. The blue planet had never looked more beautiful. Behind him, the door opened. Admiral Chen entered, carrying a datapad. "Captain," she greeted him. "How are you feeling?" Taeyang turned to face her. "Better, Admiral. The doctors say I am fully recovered. My crew is healing well too." "Good," Admiral Chen said, "because I have news. The United Earth Council has made several decisions based on your encounter with the Vexstar." She handed him the datapad. Taeyang read through it quickly. His eyes widened. "They are promoting me to Admiral?" he asked in surprise. "Not just promoting you," Admiral Chen replied with a smile. "They are putting you in command of a new task force, the First Contact Defense Force. Your mission will be to defend humanity against alien threats. You will have 12 ships under your command, all equipped with the new weapons and shields we are developing based on what you learned about the Vexstar." Taeyang was speechless for a moment. It was a huge responsibility, but he understood why they chose him. He had faced the aliens. He knew how they thought, how they fought. "What about my crew?" he asked. "Commander Hae-jin Park has been offered her own ship," the Admiral explained, "but she turned it down. She wants to remain your second in command. Lieutenant Borayun is being promoted to commander. She will oversee the weapons development program. Engineer Daehyun Lee is now chief engineer for the entire task force, and Dr. Jiwoo Choi is heading up our new alien communications department. Taeyang smiled. His crew was staying together. That was good. They had been through so much. They worked well as a team. When do we start? He asked. In 3 months, Admiral Chen replied. The Indomitable will be fully repaired and upgraded by then. You will have time to rest, see your family, and prepare for the next phase. That afternoon, there was a ceremony. All the surviving crew members of the Indomitable gathered in the main hall of the military headquarters. Families were there too. The media had cameras everywhere. This was a historic moment. One by one, each crew member received a medal for their bravery. The Hall of Heroes medal, the highest honor Earth could give. When it was Taeyang's turn, he walked to the podium. The President of Earth placed the medal around his neck. Captain Kim, the President said, on behalf of all humanity, thank you. You and your crew saved countless lives. You showed us that we can defend ourselves. You made us proud to be human. The hall erupted in applause. Taeyang looked out at the crowd. He saw Ha Jin standing with her parents. Bora was crying happy tears as her mother hugged her. Daehyun was shaking hands with other engineers. Jiwoo was talking excitedly with other scientists. But Taeyang also saw the empty seats. 63 seats for the crew members who would never come home. Their families sat there holding pictures of their loved ones. Those were the real heroes. Taeyang stepped to the microphone to give a speech. The hall fell silent. Thank you for this honor, he began. But I want to make something clear. I did not save humanity alone. Every person on the Indomitable is a hero. From the bridge crew to the engineers to the medical staff to the cooks who kept us fed. We all worked together. We all fought together. And 63 of us died together. He paused and looked at the families of the fallen. Those 63 people gave everything. They knew the odds. They knew we might not survive. But they stayed at their posts. They did their duty. They sacrificed themselves so that billions of others could live. They are the ones who deserve this medal. They are the ones we should never forget. The hall was completely silent. Many people were crying now. Taeyang continued. The Vexstar came to our system expecting an easy victory. They thought we would surrender without a fight. They were wrong. They learned that humans are different. We do not give up. We do not bow to threats. When someone tries to take what is ours, we fight. And we keep fighting until we win, or until there is nothing left to fight with. The Vexstar will come back someday. We all know this. They will return with more ships, better weapons, new strategies. But we will be ready. We will build stronger ships. We will train harder. We will stand together, and when they come back, we will show them again that humanity cannot be conquered. He raised his fist in the air. We are human. We do not surrender. We do not give up. We survive. The entire hall rose to their feet, cheering and applauding. The sound echoed through the building. It was the sound of hope, of determination, of a species that refused to be defeated. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, in the heart of the Vexstar Dominion, High Overseer Kralix stood before the Supreme Council. The council chamber was vast and dark, lit only by floating orbs of light. Dozens of high-ranking Vexstar officials sat in a circle around him. Kralix was explaining what had happened. He showed them recordings of the battle. The council watched in silence as the human battleship destroyed ship after ship. They saw the fusion cannon obliterate the flagship. They saw the gravity well generator implode. When the recordings ended, the chamber was silent. Finally, one council member spoke. This is unacceptable, the councilor hissed. We lost 35 ships to a single primitive vessel. How is this possible? Kralix kept his voice steady. The humans are not primitive. Their technology is different from ours, but it is effective. More importantly, they have something we do not. They have an irrational refusal to accept defeat. They fight beyond all logic. It makes them dangerous. Another counselor spoke up. Then we must crush them immediately. Send a larger fleet, 10 times the size. Destroy their worlds. Make an example of them. But an older counselor raised one claw for silence. This was the High Elder, the leader of the Dominion. When he spoke, everyone listened. No, the High Elder said. We will not rush into another battle. Overseer Kralix is correct. These humans are dangerous precisely because they do not follow the rules we expect. If we send a larger fleet now, we might win, but at what cost? How many more ships will we lose? Then what do you suggest, High Elder? Another counselor asked. The High Elder was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he made his decision. We will watch them. We will study them. We left sensor probes in their system. Those probes will tell us everything about their technology, their tactics, their defenses. We will learn their weaknesses, and we will prepare. When we return to human space, it will not be in 1 year or 2 years. It will be when we are ready to win with certainty. How long will that take? A counselor asked. As long as necessary, the High Elder replied. 5 years. 10 years. It does not matter. The Dominion has existed for thousands of years. We can be patient. When we strike, it will be decisive and final. The council agreed. They would wait. They would prepare, and eventually, they would return to finish what they started. Back on Earth, Dr. Jiwoo Choi was working late in her new office. She was analyzing the data from the Vextar probe network that they had discovered. The probes were sophisticated, collecting information about everything in the solar system. She had been trying to disable them, but they were well protected. Every time she got close, they would activate defensive protocols. It was frustrating. The Vextar were watching everything humanity did. Her office door opened. Taeyang walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. Working late? He asked, handing her a cup. Always, Jiwoo replied with a tired smile. These probes are giving me nightmares. The Vextar are watching us, learning about us. By the time they come back, they will know everything. Taeyang sat down across from her. Then we make sure we are stronger than whatever they learn. We improve. We innovate. We stay ahead of them. Do you think we can do it? Jiwoo asked quietly. Really defend ourselves against the entire Dominion? Taeyang was silent for a moment. Then he smiled. Yes, he said with certainty. We can, we already proved it once. 1 ship against 50. We did not just survive, we won. Imagine what we can do with 12 ships, or 100, or 1,000. The Vextar think their technology makes them superior, but they forget something important. Humans adapt. We learn, we overcome. That is what makes us dangerous. Jiwoo nodded slowly. He was right. Humans had always been good at surviving. From the caves to the stars, humanity had faced countless challenges and overcome them all. 3 months later, the Indomitable was ready. The ship looked different now. It was sleeker, more powerful. New armor plating covered the hull. Advanced weapon systems were installed. The fusion cannon had been perfected and tested. The shields were twice as strong as before. Admiral Taeyang Kim stood on the bridge of his upgraded flagship. Around him, his senior staff had returned to their stations. Commander Ha Jin Park at Tactical, Commander Bora Yoon at Weapons. Chief Engineer Dae-hyun Lee had a direct line from Engineering. Dr. Jiwoo Choi at Communications and Science. Outside the ship, 11 other vessels waited in formation. The First Contact Defense Force was ready for duty. Admiral Chen appeared on the main screen from Earth Command. Admiral Kim, your task force is cleared for departure. Your orders are to patrol the outer system and investigate any anomalous contacts.